Bonnie, if she was 20 years old or older, she would exist by now at the end of the flashback, because that's 14 years from now, 12 years from the flashback, or from the pre-time skip. So is it possible that A, Kuma and Ginny had a child off screen, and that's why he's going back and forth from his usual work with the Rev to the Sorbet Kingdom? B, that Ginny, or I guess Bonnie is Ginny's clone. C, Bonnie is Big Mom's clone, that theory. D, is that maybe... I don't know, you tell me.
Well, you covered most of them. I think the only other one I've thought of is she could be pregnant at the time that she was kidnapped. So like Kuma doesn't know, and then she grows up and marries Joie, and that explains like why she's so familiar with the place during the Rev. And maybe getting her released was the condition for Kuma to become a cyborg man.
That actually reminds me of what D really is. D would be the idea of Bonnie is genuinely younger than what she appears to be, but Kuma and Ginny have her later. So 14 years ago, we don't see any mention of Bonnie at all, but maybe let's say Kuma does save Ginny, and then let's say 2 years from now, or in the flashback, Bonnie is born, and then Ginny dies to, let's say, another cause.
Well, it could work with the clone theory as well, because she could have, like, Bonnie could have been the first successful Seraphim, and maybe Ginny could have died in the process, and because Kuma wanted at least a little piece of the person that he loved, he was
wasn't
like,
the first one? Wasn't the first clone that was a success? Buckin?
Even
I don't know if she was the first or not, but I remember. Let me go back to her, because I think it's mentioned that I think it was in the cover story where we see that he won his Nobel Peace Prize, or whatever they have, that version of One Piece, whatever it is. He won that, I think, for the cloning stuff. Or not that's a whole different thing.
In that chapter, they were talking about, it's like, the world may not end up accepting her for what she is, but she's like human, something like that. It was vague. And then we got like the Stussy reveal of that. So it could be like a fake out. I don't know.
So it wasn't Stussy, it was Bonnie?
Yes or no. It seems more like scientist notes, like, oh, voila, we succeeded. And then they may not accept her for what it is. It could be either or, and then Stussy was made later on.
Well, don't they have an excelled growth rate?
It depends.
Yeah,
it depends. Not every single one has to have that, but I would assume probably yes.
But I mean, the only thing about it though is the fact that, I mean, Kuma, I don't know, it doesn't happen all the time, but I feel like if she was truly Kuma's daughter, I feel like, she would have some qualities of Kuma. I mean, she looks absolutely nothing like Kuma at all. I mean, but that wasn't the same for Kuma and his dad.
Other than the distorted future when she was attacking Vegapunk, that was the only time when she has any form of physiology, sort of like Buccaneer.
Yes.
Other than that, no.
I was going to say, I think it's option A, Cole, because I honestly think Bonnie's in this chapter. There's that small little panel where we see a little kid eating with Dragon, Ivankov, and Kuma. And, I think that's just way of Oda showing that, Bonnie's birth was off-screen.
I don't know if that's actually her. I thought that maybe it was just Ginny, but being really, really tiny compared to those guys. Yeah, I think that's Ginny. I think that's because Ginny's really small compared to everybody else. She's small compared to... Dragon's a really tall dude. Ivankov is massive, so is Kuma. So I think that's Ginny herself. That's my assumption.
Kuma's pretty adamant about not having children.
Yeah, we know.
As well.
Yeah, he's not.
We know.
Which kudos to him, because he has a willpower like no other to say no to Ginny. That's impressive, bro.
Or just the pull-out game is...
Oh, you think it's
possible that Bonnie was born right after
clergymen lacking like that? Damn. Oh, go ahead, son.
No, I was just going to say, it is possible that Bonnie was born right after that scene, right after she offered the marriage and he declined it. But, I mean, it's looking not likely.
With Bonnie, what significance does she has within the Navy? Because it seems like the Gorosei know of her. The Navy kind of know about her by name. It's like when they mention her, it's kind of like not a fondness, but like a familiarity beyond just, oh, she's just a pirate,
Ginny was one of the first Seraphim and was intentionally made to be a weapon for the world government. Then you could say that that's why the admirals know about her, and the fact that Kuma possibly traded in himself in exchange for her is why they're like slightly hands off, even though they're familiar.
Now you kind of have to really consider the idea of either adoption, pregnancy while in captivity, or cloning. And I want to go away from the cloning as much as possible. I don't want to have the clone thing be too prevalent in the story in terms of everyone has a chance of being a clone now in some way, shape, or form. I think that Stussy is enough. Maybe you have Weevil be a failed clone, cool. But like Bonnie's a clone. That brings into contention a few things, obviously, when it comes to the whole cloning process. And then also, why is it that, and so much before too, that Atlas, Dork, and Lilith all have features, traits of Guinea. So I did notice too that these really long bangs, these sideburn style bangs, are the same ones that Atlas has, but hers are looped. And then you can argue she also looks like Lilith in some ways too, but at the same time, she also has like York's appetite, you know? So,
I mean, Vegapunk might have created them based off of Guinea and not necessarily Bonnie being a clone.
That is a theory.
Oh wait, so actually on this front, and I'll give him credit, Dig actually was talking about this, but I'll steal it from him since he's not here. It's a little long-winded, but I think it's pretty good. So he has a theory that Jenny or Guinea, whatever, and that she was kidnapped, and that Kuma when she was kidnapped, she underwent trauma, and that Kuma, to help her get over that trauma, got rid of it with his power, and also may have gotten rid of her memories of being Jenny, and that she then aged herself down, that maybe doing so regressed her to a childlike state, and that then she then aged herself down into Bonnie.
Yeah, I've heard that theory before, honestly, but it's good. Because Cole, I assume you guys talked about it. There's some timeline issues right now.
Yes. So to me, that theory is pretty strong in that it fits. It helps all the pieces of who Jenny and Bonnie are and the timelines and the ages kind of fit.
So Vibe's troll theory is going to be correct. I don't know if I feel it. I don't know.
Oh, Vibe came up with that too?
Oh, Vibe did? Okay.
Vibe has a tree. But but Vibe's a troll. So Vibe be trolling.
Hey, but you know what? Sometimes the trolls are accidentally
the trolls wins, Cole. Like, listen, they throw a random dart blindfolded, but it still hits sometimes.
I'd actually rather her be pregnant when she's in captivity. I'd rather that.
I've heard another theory. I've heard another theory, because this only happened once in the entire story. And it could help Oda slit his way out of the inconsistencies of why we don't see a Kid Bonnie now and what's going on with the timeline. Remember what happened with Ace's mom? She literally kept her baby inside of her for like a couple months after the 9 months. It could be some weird shit like that Oda's going to do again.
Guinea is doing this, but while fighting? That's
not my theory. I've just been hearing people trying to explain why we don't see Bonnie, because mathematically speaking, she should be here, but we don't see her.
I mean, there's a good chance that she's born already and they just have her somewhere while they're
I would hope so.
Or again, like the idea is that she actually was born later and she is a child. But she ages up all the time with her powers. That's the idea.
The world government, who, if she was born in captivity, would know her and would have known her as a child, plus Vegapunk, like multiple times have referred to her as a child.
Right. Kizaru and Saturn have too.
Yeah, so it seems like the fact that they keep reiterating it doesn't really seem like a one-off.
Here's a timeline from from Jinbei's point of view. Kuma was a king, a bad king at some point. Mm-hmm. Then the people overthrew him. Mm-hmm. Then he becomes a pirate. Mm-hmm. Maybe he was still a revolutionary at that point. We don't know, but he becomes a pirate. The Navy captures him. Mm-hmm. They expose that he was a revolutionary at some point. Then they sentence him to life in prison. And then Vegapunk apparently finds him. And then that's how he becomes a warlord.
And we haven't gotten any of the king stuff yet at all. So, like, he has, I mean, as far
true,
as we know,
king. Yeah, we haven't mentioned king at all, yeah.
Yeah, so unless, and maybe because there's things where he said before that I'm going to go back and forth between what I'm doing with the Revolutionary Army and then the country. So I'm thinking that this could be like these 8 years where time passes. This could be the window where like he becomes maybe a king off screen.
Yes.
And then he may also have him and Guinea also hitched off screen as well. Maybe. Right. Maybe. But it's in this 8 year window where I think things could, if we're talking about a regular Bonnie, and she is actually in her 20s, like 21, 24, and then Guinea she wants to see her man basically because it's been a while after
her husband
on fighting. Right, has a responsibility, exactly.
I think at some point during this flashback, we are going to find out that Kuma offered himself up as a sacrifice to the world government to rescue Ginny. And that also,
absolutely.
Whether Ginny and Bonnie are the same person or that stretch to include Bonnie as his child, whatever the truth is.
We're going to find out next chapter.
That's why Bonnie was basically untouchable because of Kuma's deal with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they didn't want to anger him.
And why Vegapunk said in chapter, I think it was 1072, if I told you the true reason why he became a cyborg in the first place, it will only hurt you.
Yes.
So there's some shit like he regrets. He said he regretted what happened that day. So whatever happened, it involves Bonnie in some case, and it involves him becoming, a warlord and a cyborg. So we'll have to wait and see what's going on.
But he also said it was Kuma's choice.
It was. It was still his choice.
Yeah.
And it does explain why he'd want to be mindless. Because I don't think someone as good-natured as Kuma could live.
I think he's just
being a tool of the.
No, with all the shit he would have to do.
It meant maybe his daughter would live. He chose, which is weird. Which I think would be a cool character flaw because he wants to save as many people as possible. Though he chooses to be a weapon, but he chooses it to save his quote-unquote daughter as of right now. So I don't know. I think that's a cool character flaw.
And the other thing, him taking on the pain of the people every time.
That was kind of radical.
That's
now you can 16 years. 16 years he's been doing that. Oh my god.
So seeing what Zoro went through with Luffy's pain is like, Kuma has been enduring this type of
chump change.
Yeah, it's chump change compared to what Kuma's been doing. So, and the fact that he's a buccaneer, you don't know what physical endurance he has against pain. So it's not like your typical human.
A lot. Totally a lot. In a way, it also kind of explains why, like, his physical body could withstand fighting against pirates for 2 years straight to defend the Sun Ego for that long. Because, like, this guy was going through stuff like this on a regular basis. He's a cyborg. He has the buccaneer body. So his endurance and his defense are just off the charts. And so to take all that pain day in and day out, I mean, week after week, I should say.
And just a little Sanji slander in there.
What?
9-year-old Kuma seems to have taken the Saturn blast better than Sanji did, or at least as well as Sanji did.
But Saturn wasn't in mode, so what are your point?
Yes, I see. I see.
Saturn was full.
Yeah, Kuma is actually built different. Yes.
Oh, come on! Don't take it seriously, guys. It's a little fun.
I'm about to say, what is this?
Like, I don't think any other regular human could have withstanded, because it's not like they just
the modification
went for surgery and came out a cyborg. It was a slow process, and I think it's kind of cool because you can tell he's kind of based off of Bartholomew, the apostle, who literally died by flame, which is kind of like him being flayed. He's
dying. I'm telling you.
Hold on.
He's dying in the dark by Saturn's flames. I'm telling you, it's happening.
Hold on. This guy, Kuma, he's the last Buccaneer, right? As far as I understand, he's the last one.
As far as we know.
Yeah.
I have a theory about Dragon.
That could also be a reason why. Yeah, but that could also be a reason why the Marines didn't necessarily want to harm Bonnie, or they were because of her health and her safety, because that also means that Kuma, who's the last Buccaneer, they lose out on his physical traits, that kind of stuff too, or they want him as an asset because he's the last of his kind.
As a warlord, he's a warlord for them, so it matters for them to keep him.
If they cared about her safety and they wanted to have her genes, like, they could just keep her confined in like a military base.
Yeah, but that's if she has Buccaneer blood.
They may have done that.
Like, it could run thin, too thin.
If they have any doubts, like, I know seems kind of sick, but like, I have doubts. Okay, here, keep her confined at a facility, like a free range, person, gonna wait. Like, she's able to do what she wants, but she can't leave. Maybe we could test or whatever, but I wouldn't just be like, let her run free. It seems kind of I don't know.
I think that's what they do.
There's a lot that we're missing for sure.
But the only reason she's free now is because Kuma made that exchange with them.
Right. He probably said, all right, I will be a warlord for you guys if you let my daughter be free. And then he probably said other reasons why he will become a cyborg for other guarantees. If the Ginny thing is true, that people want to believe that she is Bonnie somehow, some way, it would be poetic that Kuma gets his life back inside of a clone of himself that Bonnie takes care of.
Hold on. If Ginny is Bonnie, and then Bonnie sees the memories of Kuma in the past, why did that awaken anything inside Bonnie to be more like Ginny?
I have no idea, Cole. I don't like the theory, so I can't answer it.
It doesn't have freckles, man. Toss it out.
Yeah,
No, it doesn't have freckles.
What?
No
She brought him
freckles.
off the cow.
See you. Bye bye.